Okay, guys, gals, friends, and family, thank you for stopping by the channel. This is General Patton's Bushcraft and Self-Reliance School. And today I am super stoked again. I'm going to film right now the recap to episode 2 of Alone Season 8. Now the title of this episode is called Open Season. Episode 2. This is the recap. Let's get right into it. Okay, episode 2, Open Season, opens with Coulter. Coulter does some reconnaissance around his area. He finds some bear poop. He finds a bear bed and a lot of berries. He reveals to us that his nickname is the Jolly Green Hermit. And he says that we are the prey out there. They're definitely not the top of the food chain. All right, next up we see Nate. Nate says goodbye to the boat, drops his pack, changes his clothes, hikes the shoreline, and he tells us that he's an out-of-the-box thinker. He says he's not a bushman or a woodsman. And he says he's an out-of-the-box thinker, and he finds a game trail, sees a grouse, shoots an arrow and misses. Okay, we're still on day 1. We see Teresa up next. She's looking for temporary shelter. Says she sees lots of edible plants in the area. Finds some grizzly bear scat on the beach. Strings up a tarp and starts to boil some water. Then the show goes to day 2, and we get to see Michelle. Michelle cooks a cricket, eats it, says it's high in fat and carbs. She gathers a ton of edibles, some nodding onions, rose hips, and then she sees a bear swimming straight at her. I remember she gets caught in the brush as she's trying to get out of there. Then a cool thing, the bear was only fishing, and we get a small glimpse of this bear actually caught a fish, and he's sitting there eating it. Day 2 now, still we get to see, up after Michelle, we get to see Teresa. She makes a comb on the beach, combs her hair. She chooses a permanent site. We learn that she wants to make a pit house. Pit house is half underground, half on top. And while digging, she's eating grubs. Okay, while she's digging this pit house. She gets the pit house about waist deep, so good on Teresa. The show now goes to day 3, and we get to see Jordan. Jordan's eating ants, and he tells us that these ants taste like lemon, kind of lemony. Jordan locates a site for his permanent shelter, and we learned that he lost a daughter a couple years ago. That's kind of a sad bit of information about Jordan. We pray for him. He starts building a real nice log cabin with saddle notches in the logs. These saddle notches allow these logs to sit a lot closer together, a lot tighter. Okay. Later that night, Jordan then sees a bear about 10:30 that night, day 3. Now day 4, Jordan wakes up in the morning, realizes he built his temporary shelter right close to a game trail. Okay. All right. Day 4, about 10:30 in the morning. Coulter now. We get to see Coulter again. He's hard at work. This time with his bow drill, trying to get a fire going. We see that he's struggling, and he tells that his mom definitely wanted him to bring the ferro rod, but he didn't listen to her. Finally gets a fire started. He starts working on that boat. He's never built a boat before, but he brought a tarp, so he's determined to build one. All right, The show goes to day 5 now. Back to Teresa. Teresa hears a bear outside her shelter about midnight. She can see tracks the next morning on the beach. And she builds the roof section to a real nice shelter of that pit house. We see her put that center post. Then she starts laying these logs in for the roof. Looks real nice. Day 5, the show now goes to Jordan. He tries some fishing. Kind of windy. So he looks for a new spot. He finds a piece of litter on the beach. Wanders about 2 miles away from his temp shelter. Finds an aluminum can. And then a storm hits. We see these big waves starting to crash on the beach. He has a hard time getting back. He gets back. He's soaking wet. And he decides to focus on his permanent shelter from this point on. All right, day 6 now. We're back to Michelle. She makes a camp chair and is so grateful to sit down in this camp chair. Starts working on her long-term shelter. Builds 2 tripods for an A-frame design. And she gets mostly finished with the tarp strung across it. All right, day 6 still. Now we get to go back to see Coulter, working on building his boat. And while he's building this boat, he drops his multi-tool on the tarp twice, and luckily he doesn't poke a hole in it. He carves a paddle out of a log, and he actually tests the boat, kneels on it inside of it. He says it's kind of tippy, and he actually says it's real tippy. He wants to build an outrigger for it. All right, day 7 now. The show's coming to an end, episode 2. Day 7, they show us Nate. Nate steals the mushroom back from the squirrel, that bolete mushroom. Nate strung up 6 of them early on, and one of these squirrels stole one. He followed the squirrel, stole his bolete mushroom back. Starts working on his A-frame shelter. Looks real nice. And then the show ends with Nate checking his trot line, and he catches a real nice bull trout. So good on Nate. Good on everybody. And I'm excited to do the recap from episode 3. Get that out to you guys. And tomorrow night, today's Wednesday, tomorrow night, episode 4 is going to be released by the History Channel, and I'll have the recap on that out shortly thereafter. Thanks for stopping by the channel. Please subscribe and share. It's free. Thank you.